What's up, guys? Patrick James here, and welcome back to another episode of Raw Dating Advice. If the camera looks different, it's not because I upgraded and got a whole new studio. I just have some weird lighting in here that's a little bit different than you're used to, and I thought it looked a little bit dope to get started. But just know, this sunlight is going down, so as this video goes on, it's gonna be a little bit of a longer video than you're probably used to, but the lighting might change in here a little bit because the sun is setting, which is beautiful. It's got me feeling good. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. But today, I really wanted to let you guys know kind of where we've been the last few months, why we haven't been posting as much since like last August, and what to expect from the content moving forward, with this video kind of being the kickoff to that. And to help explain where Raw Dating Advice is right now and the future of Raw Dating Advice, especially the YouTube videos, I brought on my marketing assistant. I'm training him to be a good copywriter for the business as well. His name is Chris. You've seen him in a couple of previous videos where we did a couple of vlogs where we called the angry customer. He was the cameraman in that video, but in the day-to-day, he's helping out with a lot of the back-end stuff on the business side of Raw Dating Advice. And so I brought him on here to also just be a second voice and be someone also from the team that you guys don't normally get to see, to kind of help explain what's going on here and what to look forward in the next coming days and weeks. So what's going on, Chris? You want to say what's up and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, what's up, man? I'm excited. Like Patrick said, I'm one of the new members here on Raw Dating Advice. And I've been here for a couple months now. I say 2 to 3. And oh man, it's a lot of very overwhelming, just because I've been learning a lot. You know, it's first time marketing job, but I'm loving it, loving the whole thing. And I'm excited to be here.
And you've been really working with me day in and day out, right?
Yeah. I've been like, I've been going over to your place, and that's a whole nother type of experience that
Why do you say that?
I think could be. Just because it's really weird how I don't want to get too woo-ish, but the energy you really feel the energy versus working. I've done remote work before, but working in person is just something else that I've been really enjoying, and it's very powerful.
Well, it's something that you've definitely seen. The viewers have also seen in the documentary, but like, you cannot replace the value of getting around the right environment, right? And so I just assume for you, because one of the comments you made early on when you first started working for me was like, we're on a different level of just like work ethic. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of like my everyday life, but it just goes to show that most people, it's all about the environment. And so it's really interesting for me to hear that you say that it's kind of been a wild ride, because yeah, it's been a fucking wild ride, because we do a little bit differently here, as you can tell.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, man, a lot of the reason I wanted to bring you on here is because you and I talk about the vision of where we're going, and especially the type of videos we want to put out so much, that I thought you would be a perfect person to come on and really just kind of tag team this video with us to update the rest of the guys on Raw Dating Advice. So you have a list of talking points. So why don't we just start at the top? But real quick, kind of give the guys a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about in this video.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick overview. It's just really catching you guys up on what's been happening. I know, like the last 6-7 months, it feels like, it just got ghosted. And so we're just here to update you what to expect in the future, and a little bit of behind the scenes, like Patrick said, like you said, like that's why you brought me on here, right? So get a little bit behind the scenes there. So, I mean, just update us. Where have you been the past 6 to 7 months? What have you been up to?
All right, so as you guys know, especially if you've been subscribed here for a little bit, last year, the channel, we were really pumping out consistent content. I was doing daily content at one point, but then I kind of scaled back to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos, right? And then around August or September, we kind of just stopped posting out of nowhere. Now, we've kept up the business side of things, because really a lot of the value that I give to a lot of my clients and the guys who have my book happens on the email list. So I've definitely been grinding on those emails, delivering a lot of value to the email list. But as far as the channel, we slowed down. We decided to kind of just slow down production on that. because of obvious reasons that you guys learned about on the channel a little bit later on, we had this big boot camp coming up. It was the first time we were doing a boot camp of that nature, and we really wanted to see if it was an event that we could continue doing in 2020. And the documentary for that boot camp came out. It was filmed in September, and it came out in January to kind of kick off the year. And it was like one of the first videos that we ended up posting. But to answer the question, man, the reason we stopped posting is because at the time we expanded the team. We got some phone closers and also some other enrollment coaches on the team to help guys who wanted to come to the boot camp. We literally, I had a team of people on the phone getting these guys enrolled for the boot camp. And so I almost stepped back from YouTube a little bit because, like I said, a lot of what we do is on the email list. So we stepped back from the YouTube so we could focus more on making sure that event turned out amazing, that boot camp turned out great, and we really over-delivered for those guys. And as you guys can see, it was really worth it because of what happened and what you guys saw happen in the documentary. Does that answer your question, man?
Yeah, and I wanted to speak on that a little bit as far as like when I got here, you released the documentary just a couple days before, and it was kind of, I guess, a weird time in your business, especially with all this that's going on now, you know, the corona, because like at the time that I came in, you were just building back up that momentum with focusing on creating that boot camp experience again for the new guys coming on. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, right? Like no one really expected this to happen, but the corona thing just kind of happened. So like, tell them a little bit about that, because that has obviously had an impact.
That's a great point. So yeah, we definitely went all in on really just getting the word about Raw Dating Advice out there. So a lot of the efforts were tailored to making the boot camp a really massively successful experience for all the guys who came. But then secondly, figuring out how we can replicate that for more guys who watched the documentary and wanted to come. And so to answer your question and kind of to address that point, we spent December, January, and February literally selling out spots to the March boot camp and the June boot camp, which ended up having to both be postponed due to the coronavirus. And so in about March or so, we were playing catch up a little bit, postponing these guys. We ended up moving that boot camp to September. And so now that we've kind of combined all the guys who had already invested into the September one, now that one's almost sold out, but that kind of gave us a little bit of that runway to get back into, all right, let's go back and focus on the content, delivering to the YouTube channel like originally, right? And so yeah, Corona, it didn't really affect, I guess, the business Raw Dating Advice per se, because we're still grinding on the email list. Guys are still buying the book every single day. I feel like now that guys are inside more now than they have been in ever probably. We get even more guys buying the books. So the books have definitely been flying off the shelves. But our focus kind of had to shift a little bit from, okay, how do we deliver more boot camps this year, to, all right, let's kind of push off the boot camps till later in this year when the pandemic resides, but also how do we keep delivering for all the guys who now can't attend the boot camp or didn't even know the boot camp existed. And so that's kind of a lot of what you've been doing and helping out with, is like, we've really been scaling up our online coaching community because that's something that guys can go through even while they're at self-quarantine. But to answer your question, man, that's kind of where we've been at with the corona as far as like what's been going on. And also that's where we've been. And honestly, us not posting does not mean that Patrick James quit or retired, which I'm sure a lot of you guys wondered, hey, where's Patrick James at? Is he still making videos or not? I still get DMs every day. Hey man, are you still making videos? Hey man, can you answer this question? And I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, which is kind of why we wanted to make this video. But we've still been grinding. If you're on the email list, you know for sure how much value we give there every single day. But we're going to get back into the YouTube content because this, you know, why not? We're inside all day, and we have all that time now that the boot camps are scheduled for later on in this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that briefly touched on a question that, if you could please elaborate, like what was your thought process behind starting back up YouTube, and what's kind of like the future of this channel?
Yeah, man. So It's, I guess we were talking about this a little bit before the call, but last summer when we were really grinding on the YouTube videos, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I felt like there was a lot of overlap between the questions I was getting. And keep in mind, guys, like I've been doing this for 6 years. I think the first YouTube video I posted was 2014 and it's currently 2020. So I've been doing this for a while, and from 2014 to 2019, every video was the exact same. It was I turn on the camera, I answer a question, I sign off. I turn on the camera, I answer the question, I sign off. And over the last 6 years, I've just felt like I was answering the same questions over and over again. I felt like I could continue to do the hamster wheel of posting mindless content. Look, dude, I do this every single day. I can talk about this all day. So when I turn on a camera, I can talk about this all day, but I feel like since the videos are already there on the YouTube channel, why keep repeating myself just for the sake of continuing to post? And so kind of to answer your question of where I'm going with this is like, I realized that I was losing the passion. I don't want to say get burnt out, but I was losing the passion for just, or not, losing the motivation for turning on the camera, talking for 5 minutes and turning it off. I felt like the guys who really tune into Raw Dating Advice on a regular basis, because the videos were so short and punchy and answering one question at a time, they weren't getting the ability to really bond with me, see the sides of my personality that most people don't really get to see, hear some of the stories of my own experiences because I didn't have the time to elaborate on those videos. So to answer your question, and you kind of already knew the answer, which was I really have been brainstorming, how do I make Raw Dating Advice just as valuable as the guys have been expecting, but over deliver on top of that, but also how do I do something that I have more motivation to do, which is longer form conversations. I love having conversations, and a lot of what has created my success in dating is my ability to have conversations, and it's something that I learned. And so I've always kind of had the motivation or the goal to start a longer form show of some sort, and I think now is the best time more than ever to really start that trend and really get that going for my channel, is longer form conversations with cool ass people while still really delivering that type of value to the guys who really crave that raw dating advice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so my next question is just more or less, you gave us the vision, right? With this new long form content, how will it affect like the viewer? How will it benefit the viewer, the person watching? How will it affect them directly? Like, will kind of like the advice change, the questions you take change, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so I challenge myself creatively every single time I've been making a video recently. And now the key is, how do I keep showing up and delivering for the guys who really want to tune into this stuff? And so my goal was to, I don't want this to be like your everyday podcast where it's like, hi, I'm a coach from Raw Dating Advice and I'm bringing on Dr. Schmitz and he's going to tell us about the love, and then hey, what are your 3 tips? For me, that's felt boring. And so I wanted to really just be more authentic. To answer your question, like, dude, I'm so fucking tired of not being able to be just like fully myself and show guys who I am as a person. And so I felt like for everybody to really grow and for this channel to really succeed, people really needed to be able to see that side of my personality. And I needed to be able to be more authentic on camera just because they're able to see more sides of my personality with the longer form content. And so I personally would not, I have personally grown tired of tuning into those old school podcasts where it's a boring interview and there's no entertainment value and it's generic like everybody else's. And I felt like this is my chance to really do that. And so to answer your question, I want to bring on people who are interesting guests who not only have unique perspectives on dating, but also I want to show guys the people on my team, the people I'm working with every single day. What are their experiences in dating? What is my girlfriend's experience with dating me? What are some of the experiences that I had that led to me becoming the dating coach I am today? What are some of the experiences that I had while writing this book that I even wrote about in this book? Let me elaborate on some of these stories. And so that's the vision with the longer form stuff. And so Raw Dating Advice, I don't want to say it's a podcast because I don't want it to get labeled into the podcast like, hey, I'm going to talk to this other person and it's going to be a really boring hour-long interview. I want to do it in a way that is something that I would even personally tune into, which is entertaining, engaging, and something that I think is conversationally relevant to what's going on in today's world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because like you said, if you kept going, I feel like if you kept going behind doing that hamster wheel of just posting the same videos, something interesting that you said there is like they wouldn't really get to know you. They would get to know what you say and the tips you give them. But I think from what I've noticed is a lot of these guys want to get to know you better personally. And that's what I know whenever you talk about this, that's what I love about this whole idea is they get to know more about you. Like they just get to see different sides of your personality, which is really going to bring out your name, Raw Dating Advice. You know, it's nothing but the truth, the raw truth.
Right. And so, I'm curious, man, like even being someone, so just so the guys watching this understand, like Chris is someone I work with every single day. We talk about the vision of Raw Dating Advice, the company, the YouTube channel, and the email list, and even just like our community of like coaching clients and what we want to do with that. And so he's so tuned in to what I'm thinking every single day. And so I'm trying to do my best to elaborate on some of these ideas, but I'm curious, Chris, like you kind of elaborated right there, like that people wouldn't get to know me. What else do you feel like has really resonated with you hearing about what I'm saying and what I'm thinking, and kind of elaborate on what you like about some of the direction that we're going on in with this future content?
One of the biggest things that I just mentioned is just like it's all up to date information that's not like from a textbook and just exactly like your book, right? It's proven stuff that works, and it's a conversation more than anything, rather than, hey, here's the camera, this is what you need to do. No, it comes off more as a conversation. Hey, let's talk about this. Tell me in the comments your opinion. So you're going to be interacting with them, and
Yeah.
I think it's coming out a more, I don't know, a more full experience, if you will.
Right. And I'll be honest, man, like all the people watching this video, you guys know, because if you have seen my videos, you've definitely been getting suggested other videos with clickbaity titles about dating life, women, and I'm tired of doing the clickbaity titles. I want to do things that are relevant, right? Imagine a podcast or just like Patrick James, me, talking to someone else who's creating success in their dating life, or someone who's doing things a little bit differently than me, or someone who has a unique perspective on anything, even if it's not dating, and then us being able to have different hot takes on relevant things that are going on today. And so, for example, how are people dating during quarantine, right? Rather than me creating a clickbaity video that's 5 to 10 minutes long that gives you just a small piece of the pie, why don't I have a whole fucking conversation with someone else who also knows what the fuck they're talking about, or someone who has unique perspectives? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and on that topic, I know you said you wanted to do like another video on the quarantine, but do you just want to get into it, just say fuck it and just get into it?
We can talk about it a little bit. We might as well, because you brought it up, and so we might as well. But I think this is definitely something that I'd want to dedicate a whole conversation to. And I have a guy specifically, a guy who recently DM'd me in my DMs, Instagram DMs. He bought my book like a month ago, but he lives in Arizona and he's like a basketball trainer, right? And so I happen to love playing basketball. Most people don't know this, but I'm 6'3", 6'4". And so when I play basketball, it's like something I've done my whole life, right? And so we started playing pickup basketball, and he's been showing me a lot of the things that he's been using with my book. And dude, even though it's quarantine, he's actively out dating and like hooking up with different women throughout the week, even though we're social distancing. So I'm not recommending that you don't do the safe thing and you go out and like interact with random ass people. But what I am saying is there are definitely strategies that you can use to be improving your dating life, even though people are inside social distancing. Because I actually heard a stat today. In 2019, they polled 1,200 women, and 43% of them hadn't been on a date in 90 days, 3 months, right? And of those women who had been on a date in the last 3 months, 25, so 1 out of 4 of those women said that 25% of them said that they had only been on 1 date in those 3 months. So this just goes to show that even before, there were a lot of women who really want to improve their dating lives too. You might see a hot girl, think, oh, I can't go and talk to her, she probably will reject me. But then listen, dude, she probably hasn't been on a date for 30, chances are, 1 in every other woman you see like that has not been on a date for like 3 months, dude. And so they're craving going on dates. It's not like they don't have sex drives. And so moral of the story is there's a lot of strategies you should and shouldn't be using during quarantine. And we can definitely talk about those. I think that's something that I should dedicate a whole video to, a whole conversation to. But another example off the top of my head, a guy who also is on the team, Brian, he helps out with a lot of the YouTube ads. If you guys have been seeing some YouTube ads that we've been filming, and you guys get hit with those on YouTube, he's the one who's kind of the mastermind behind running those YouTube ads on Google. And he recently got a girlfriend like a week ago. So how did he get a girlfriend if we've been social distancing for 2 months? So that's the point that I'm trying to get at, is whether you want to hook up with women, random women every night, like the other guy who's probably just ignoring a lot of social distancing, or you want to be on the other extreme where you want to hang out with women who you already trust or can trust because you've had multiple conversations with them. One thing that he was doing Zoom dates, and they would be drinking and they'd be having conversation just like this virtually. And then they eventually started hanging out because they both don't have coronavirus, and now they're dating and they're boyfriend, girlfriend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think just to briefly touch on it, like I think it's just like at the end of the day, it's kind of just an evolution of dating. But at the end of the day, the core is still the same, right? Like it's just another obstacle. Like, right? I'm not saying at all like go like still respect the social distancing and all that and stay at home. But there are ways. It's not the end. It's not the end of in-person dating, and it's far from that.
I agree, man. And like when I actually filmed a video earlier today that we're going to try as a YouTube video or a YouTube ad, so you guys might see it, but it was based around that stat that I just said. 43% of women haven't been on a date in 90 days. That was taken before this whole quarantine started. So I guarantee that number's gone up since it started. And so women right now more than ever are really like just craving just the company of men because they're being told they can't have it. And if there's one thing that you should know, especially if you read this book, we all know that it's human nature to want what we can't have. And so just by the simple fact that there's that barrier of we can't hang out, it makes them want it more. And because it's now being enforced by law in a lot of places, they want it now more than ever. So regardless of if you're going out and meeting these girls or not, now should definitely be the time where you are actually improving your game conversationally, meeting with girls on, talking to them on the phone, or virtually with FaceTime or video chat like this, but also just learning a lot of the basics that this book will teach you at howtogetthegirlnow.com or link in the description. But learning the basics now, so that way when this all ends, you already know all those women are going to come back to the dating scene with a fucking vicious force, So you want to be prepared when this all comes to an end and people start going out again.
Yeah, definitely. The tension is building at the current moment. And once it's going to let loose soon. And that's something I wanted to touch on too, is like the YouTube ads, because I know that's something that me and you have been working on quite a bit. And I think it's been a really fun experience with that so far. Like, do you want to update them with what you got going on the ad sides? Because I think it's now been more than ever, right, that you are creating a lot more ads than before.
So kind of a little backstory behind, I guess, what the business of Raw Dating Advice has looked like. And I don't want the guys watching this video to think, oh, Patrick James is all about money, he's all about business. It's really not, because when you can't write a book like this if I'm money motivated, right? This book comes from me really speaking from experience and trying to get guys results. And that's the only reason that anybody's watching this video right now, or that as many guys are buying this book as they are right now, because it fucking works. It gets results. And that's always been the motivation, is how do I get Raw Dating Advice not just be like a company, but like a worldwide movement of guys out there just crushing it. And so I always say this on the email list, especially my goal as a coach is to make guys the most charismatic, confident, and courageous version of themselves, because it's a journey that I've personally had to go through back when I was a 21-year-old virgin, not getting any results with women. But that, like, the low confidence with women, that was seeping into every area of my life. It was seeping into low confidence in sports, low confidence in speaking up during a work meeting or speaking my ideas during a work meeting. And so it was affecting my my work, my career, getting into interviewing for dental school, getting into schools. Like, low confidence in my dating life was seeping everywhere else. And so as far as the business goes, when I started improving myself, the only reason I became a dating coach is because I realized I was way more passionate about learning game, improving my game, and then eventually teaching other guys how to do it. That I was like, I would rather do this full time, follow my passion, than be a dentist drilling teeth every single day and worrying about insurance companies and whatnot, right? I would rather be doing this. And so that's kind of always been where the underlying motivation started. However, Raw Dating Advice, nobody knew who Patrick James was until I started thinking like a business owner and a marketer. And so that's kind of where the strategy comes in. And honestly, for the guys watching this video wondering, why are we talking about this? It's because I told Chris, if we're having long form conversations, the goal has to be to show guys everything so they are able to grow with us. And so I'm willing to like talk about what are we going through, what are our personal goals, what are we looking forward to, not only on camera with like the actual advice and like how this applies to you, but also what are we doing behind the scenes to help Raw Dating Advice grow? Because the way I see it, the better I become at marketing myself and Raw Dating Advice, the company, the more guys we can reach, the more guys who are going out and being successful, the bigger impact we have, and that just creates ripple effects around the world. And so I'm sorry to be a little bit long-winded about this, but as you can tell, I'm a little bit passionate about this topic.
Yeah, and exactly like what I really love about this as well is just like the transparency that the guys are gonna have now, right? Because it's like it's not like we're trying to trick them into thinking a certain way. No, it's you wanting to spread a message because you have been there, you from your personal experience, and that's honestly like if I love the fact when I'm working on the back end and dealing with customer service, when we do get those emails that, you know, like they're very appreciative of what you do. And that for me, I think it goes far beyond the money for me as well. Cause it's like, you're helping real people, real men out there, you know, affecting real lives.
Yeah. And honestly, if it was about money and it wasn't about results, then I would not be giving this book away for free. Like this book is worth way more.
To tie it all back to like dating, I think it really just goes to show like when you're approaching a girl, it's all about being present. And I think like business, you have to be present with what's going on.
Right.
And so like you said, right, dating seeps in all areas of life. It boosts your confidence, whether in your career, personal, you know, professional, whatever it is, it all really all comes down to like your confidence. And once you get that level of confidence in one area, you're going to see it like a flower. It's just going to grow in all other areas.
Right. And that's like, as far as the business side goes, so the original question you asked was like, what are some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes? So obviously behind the scenes, we've been focusing on getting more guys aware about this book. When I give away my book for free, I literally put everything I know about attracting women into this book. Right. And I give it away for free because I understand that if I can get a guy results up front, then if he wants to go deeper in this area of his life, if he wants to actually take his dating life seriously, he'll be able to get results from this by taking massive action. But if he wants to go deeper with Raw Dating Advice and get my help with that, he's able to join our online coaching community, which is Legendary Game. If he craves that in-person coaching where he has me in the moment coaching them on how to do it and what tweaks to make from an outside like coaching perspective, then they come to the boot camp. But I've never really had the vision of, I'm going to sell you one piece of the pie for $100 and then I'll sell you the next piece of the pie for another $500. Like I'm thinking, get the book. This will give you the results you fucking want. It'll give you the knowledge you want. But then if you want to go deeper, you get more involved with the coaching. So either the online monthly coaching curriculum or the boot camp. And so the vision for Raw Dating Advice is just scale, keep it simple and scale that. Get as many guys, this book into as many hands as possible, get as many guys results up front as possible, and the guys who want to go deeper will. Does that make sense? And so I guess what we've been focusing on is YouTube ads. And now we're getting back into creating content for the YouTube channel again to get guys really tuning in and really up to date with what we've been going on so it doesn't feel like we've been ghosting them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And speaking on that, like what do you have a setup schedule? Do you want to share with them, like if you have a schedule that you're going to be posting or sticking to so that they could expect?
Yeah. So like I said, I really, really want to do these long form conversations and I want to be able to talk about what's going on in relevant, like dating during quarantine. What do you think about calling after a girl after you guys have had sex. Like who calls first? How soon do you wait until you text her or call her? Like different dating topics. I think a lot of these are stuff that can't really be answered in, hey, try this quick tip that I just showed you that may or may not work. And then they tune out and they go try it. Like, I want to give them the tips right here, but then let's have fucking conversations. Let's see this thing from all angles. Let's get different perspectives, and let's really educate guys on all the different ways that they can be doing these things, and really just giving them more value through longer form conversations. And so to answer your question, to start, we're gonna do Tuesday and Saturday, so twice a week. And so that really makes it easy on us as a team behind the scenes to really stay consistent with this, because as the business side of Raw Dating Advice grows and we get more and more clients coming into the online community and the boot camp, it has to be systematized and consistent for us to stay with it. And so if we do Tuesday, Saturday, we'll end up filming these conversations, whether it's, I'm actually setting up a studio in this room to where we can have multiple people in here with multiple microphones talking like this about whatever hot takes we have on dating in the world at that time, right? And so we'll film those conversations on like a Sunday, Thursday schedule, and then we'll end up posting them on Tuesday, Saturday. And so that's something to look forward to. But I know just like the coach in me is just gonna get the motivation, just the urge to just like randomly turn on the camera and post a video at midnight on Tuesday night or whatever, or Monday morning. So don't be surprised if you see a couple of those extra videos coming out. But definitely Tuesday, Saturday is the schedule to look forward to. So subscribe if you're not already.
Yeah, and I think, is there anything else that you want to let them know what's going on or anything before we head off?
Yeah, man. So if you haven't already gotten the book, get the book. It's 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl. It literally teaches you all the tips and tactics and tools and techniques that you need to really get started at becoming the best and most attractive you, especially when quarantine ends, or even if you are still dating during quarantine, like my buddies who I told you about before. This is gonna give you the tools and the tactics to be able to do that. But what we're looking forward to personally is reopening Legendary Game, which is our online coaching community we were talking about. It's pretty tight-knit, and honestly, all but one of the guys who joined last year renewed for this coming year, which is like, that just goes to show how powerful that community is. And so we're reopening that here in another month or so. And then the next boot camp we'll have is September, because we've already sold out basically the March and the June one, and we had to postpone both of them to September. So that one's definitely really close to being sold out. So also, the guys who will get first dibs at those last few spots are gonna be the guys on the email list. And the only way you get on the email list is by investing in this free book. And by I say investing, I say pay for shipping and handling, and we'll ship this book to you. So yeah, man, those are the things we're looking forward to. But more importantly, from a personal fulfillment standpoint, I'm fucking really, really looking forward to just being able to sit down and have like raw conversations with people. And so kind of the long-term vision, we're gonna be having this channel dedicated to dating advice and the value that you can glean in your dating situation. And more so, I'm gonna be treating this channel as a way to really be the hub of all the guys who have this book and are going through it and are on that journey for themselves. And so we're gonna keep dating advice topics really specific to this channel. But because I wanna really go deeper with any of these other topics, business, personal development, my own personal goals, and just like, what am I into? Topics that I'm into, conspiracy theories, anything that we want to talk about. My really long-term vision is to have a podcast about that. And so we're actually gonna, before the end of the year, most likely this summer, also be doing podcasts on a second channel that we will be creating this summer called the Raw and Relentless Podcast. And it'll really be just like, if we're having longer form conversations about dating here on the Raw Dating Advice channel, that one that we're actually creating the studio here, will be for everything else that we can potentially talk about. And it's called Raw and Relentless for a reason, because we're getting raw and relentless. We're having real conversations with dope ass people talking about whatever's relevant to us in the moment. So that's something to look forward to. That's something I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, man, do you have anything else to add to that, Chris?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I'm just excited to see where this goes, because I know this is the pebble right before shifting out the mountain, crafting out the mountain, I should say. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it all goes.
Yeah. What are you most excited and looking forward to seeing here in the next few months and even years?
Honestly, what I'm more excited is just for the people at home to kind of see the behind the scenes of just how this is all going to come out and about. Like that for me, it gets me really excited. It's just bringing another eye into what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, man, like what I really want any guy to take away from watching this video is that, man, just look out for what's coming, because we've been building up to this for the last 6-7 months to where we haven't been posting, but there's been a lot going on behind the scenes to where now we're finally coming full circle and we're kind of going back all in on YouTube. And so not only am I excited for that, but just the amount of growth that these guys will have simply because on our end as coaches, we're showing up more for you. So that's what I'm really just like at the end of the day, what it all boils down to, what really drives me and what's really motivating me for you guys to see what's coming out here in the near future. In the next coming days, I mean, I'm probably gonna end up posting a video tomorrow based on the quarantine video that we were talking about. And so that really depends. I wanna get the other guy who I was telling you about on so we can get some of his perspective. But honestly, man, I'm motivated to just turn on the camera and start fucking going every day. And like I said, so if you're watching this, look forward to Tuesday and Saturday for sure, but don't be surprised if you see the other ones getting posted throughout the week as well.
But yeah, other than that, I would say leave a comment down below. Well, first, like the video if you enjoyed this, and leave a comment down below of maybe what topics you want to see us talking about or who you want to see come on the conversation. Like at the end of the day, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll start reading some of the comments that we like on the following video. I think that'll be something fun to do as well. So any thoughts that you guys had? If you're excited for Raw Dating Advice being back, yeah, like Chris said, go ahead and leave that comment below and we'll give you a shout out in the next video. Other than that, we'll get out of here. Hopefully this is really insightful for a lot of you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.